In animal training, positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement are commonly used methods. Explain the difference between these two techniques and provide an example of when each would be most appropriate in training a dog. Answer: positive reinforcement involves adding a rewarding stimulus to increase the likelihood of a behavior occurring again. For example, a dog receives a treat after sitting on command. This encourages the dog to sit more often. Negative reinforcement, however, involves removing an unpleasant stimulus to reinforce a desired behavior. For instance, applying pressure to a dog's leash and then releasing it when the dog walks calmly on a leash. This teaches the dog that calm walking leads to relief from discomfort. While both methods can be effective, positive reinforcement is generally preferred as it creates a more positive bond between trainer and animal, helping build trust. Negative reinforcement, though effective for certain behaviors, should be used cautiously to avoid stress. Positive reinforcement encourages voluntary behaviors and is associated with operant conditioning, where behaviors are shaped by rewards and consequences. This method creates long-lasting behavior change and improves the animal's emotional state. Describe the process of building trust and rapport with a dog during training. Why is this step crucial for effective animal training, and what are some potential consequences of neglecting this phase? Answer: building trust with a dog starts with consistent positive interactions. Trainers must approach the animal calmly, avoid punishment, and ensure that training sessions are fun and engaging. Trust is developed through predictable routines and positive reinforcement, making the dog feel safe and confident. Trust encourages the dog to actively engage in the training process and follow commands. If this phase is neglected, the dog may develop fear-based behaviors such as anxiety, avoidance, or resistance to training. Without trust, training becomes ineffective and the dog may not respond well to commands. Additionally, neglecting this step could lead to damage to the bond between the trainer and the animal, making future training more challenging. Trust is the foundation for a healthy training environment, and it is essential for creating lasting behavioral changes. When the dog feels emotionally secure, the trainer can work more effectively on modifying behaviors. This approach aligns with the principle of positive reinforcement within behavioral psychology, which states that reinforcing desired behaviors results in a greater likelihood of those behaviors being repeated. Mr. Roberts recently adopted a 2-year-old dog named Max from a shelter. Max is experiencing separation anxiety and becomes highly distressed whenever Mr. Roberts leaves the house, barking excessively and destroying furniture. How should Mr. Roberts address Max's separation anxiety through training? Answer: Mr. Roberts should start by gradual desensitization, which involves leaving Max alone for short periods and slowly increasing the time apart. It's important that Mr. Roberts reward calm behavior with treats and praise when Max stays calm during these brief separations. He can also use counter conditioning, where Max is given a special treat or toy when left alone, so Max associates the absence of Mr. Roberts with something positive. Mr. Roberts should also create a calming environment by providing Max with interactive toys and exercise before leaving to reduce excess energy. He should avoid punishing Max for destructive behavior, as it could increase anxiety. Additionally, Mr. Roberts should aim to remain calm during arrivals and departures, avoiding emotional reactions that could exacerbate the anxiety. If these methods don't yield progress, seeking advice from a veterinarian or certified behaviorist might be necessary to rule out any underlying health issues and receive more tailored advice. Training for separation anxiety is a gradual process, and consistency is key to creating a positive association with being alone. This approach aligns with behavioral modification techniques often used to treat anxiety disorders in animals. What is the role of a clicker in animal training, and how does it complement the use of treats as a form of positive reinforcement? Answer: a clicker is a small device that produces a distinct, sharp sound used to mark the exact moment a desired behavior is performed. The sound helps the animal associate the behavior with an immediate reward, which enhances learning. This is known as bridging the gap between the behavior and the reward. The clicker offers precise timing, which is especially important when training complex behaviors or when the reward is delayed. Treats are used as a form of positive reinforcement, rewarding the animal for performing the desired behavior. They serve as a motivating stimulus to increase the likelihood of the behavior being repeated. When combined, the clicker marks the behavior and the treat reinforces it. For example, when training a dog to sit, the trainer clicks immediately when the dog's bottom touches the ground and then follows with a treat. This combination accelerates learning. The clicker provides clarity, while the treat offers tangible reinforcement, leading to a stronger behavioral response. Together, they form the foundation of operant conditioning in animal training, helping create consistent, reliable behaviors. Barking is a common behavioral issue in dogs. Discuss the possible reasons behind excessive barking and the strategies a trainer might use to address this problem. Answer: excessive barking can stem from several causes, such as territorial behavior, anxiety, boredom, or attention seeking. Identifying the cause is essential in addressing the behavior effectively. If barking is territorial, the dog may bark at strangers or other animals. In this case, the trainer can use desensitization to reduce the dog's response to stimuli, such as gradually exposing the dog to visitors or other animals at a distance while rewarding calm behavior. When barking is caused by boredom or lack of stimulation, increased exercise and mental stimulation through puzzle toys or training can help alleviate this behavior. If the barking is attention-seeking, the trainer should avoid reinforcing it by giving attention or treats when the dog barks. Instead, they should reward calm behavior. Using positive reinforcement for desired behaviors and reinforcing quiet moments can significantly reduce excessive barking over time. It's also important to avoid punitive measures, as they can increase anxiety or aggression in the dog, making the problem worse. This approach aligns with the principles of operant conditioning, where behaviors are shaped by consequences. Why is active listening and empathy important in client interactions within the companion animal services industry, and how can these skills improve outcomes for both the animal and the client? Answer: active listening and empathy are crucial for understanding the client's needs and concerns, which helps create a strong, trusting relationship. Active listening involves fully engaging with the client, ensuring they feel heard and understood. This allows the trainer to gather accurate information about the animal's behavior, history, and the client's expectations. Empathy, on the other hand, enables the trainer to connect with the client on an emotional level, acknowledging their feelings and reassuring them that their concerns are valid. When clients feel heard and supported, they are more likely to follow the trainer's advice and engage in the training process. These skills help in providing clear explanations about training methods, ensuring the client is informed and confident in the process. It also fosters a positive working relationship, increasing the likelihood of successful training outcomes. By maintaining professionalism and compassion, trainers can address any anxieties or misunderstandings, leading to better results for both the animal and the client. MS. Parker is unhappy with her cat's progress in the training sessions, feeling that there has been little improvement after several weeks. She expresses frustration with the trainer. How should the trainer respond to MS? Parker's complaint while maintaining professionalism and ensuring client satisfaction. Answer: the trainer should listen carefully to MS Parker's concerns without interrupting, ensuring that she feels heard. After acknowledging her frustration, the trainer can explain the nature of cat training, emphasizing that cats often take longer to show visible progress compared to other animals. The trainer should review the training plan, suggesting adjustments such as additional exercises or different techniques that may better suit the cat's learning style. It's important to offer realistic expectations and ensure that the client understands that progress in animal training can vary. The trainer might also offer additional sessions or a follow-up to show commitment to improving the situation. A professional, empathetic response will help retain client trust and ensure they feel supported throughout the training process. This approach adheres to best practices in client relations, focusing on clear communication, understanding, and resolution while maintaining the trainer's professional integrity. What are the key differences between training an animal for service work and general companion animal training? What specific training techniques are essential for preparing an animal to become a service animal? Answer: training a service animal is more specialized than general companion animal training because these animals are trained to perform specific tasks that aid individuals with disabilities, such as guiding the blind, alerting to seizures, or assisting with mobility. Unlike general pet training, service animal training often involves advanced obedience, task-specific training, and the ability to maintain focus in distracting environments. Trainers use techniques such as operant conditioning, shaping, and positive reinforcement to teach specific actions. For example, a guide dog for the visually impaired must be trained to recognize obstacles and navigate various environments safely. This requires consistent, clear signals and the ability to respond to commands reliably regardless of distractions. Service animals also need to remain calm and non-reactive in public spaces, which means desensitizing them to busy environments. Additionally, service animals are trained to have excellent manners, as they must work closely with their handler in a variety of settings, ensuring their behavior does not interfere with the handler's daily life. What are the primary training strategies for addressing separation anxiety in dogs, and how do they align with behavioral principles? Answer: to address separation anxiety, trainers commonly use desensitization and counter-conditioning. Desensitization involves gradually increasing the duration of time the dog spends alone, starting with short separations and progressively extending them. The goal is to help the dog become accustomed to being alone without anxiety. Counter-conditioning works by associating positive experiences with the absence of the owner. For example, the trainer might give the dog a special treat or toy only when the owner leaves, helping the dog associate the absence with something enjoyable rather than stressful. These techniques are based on behavioral principles of classical and operant conditioning. The goal is to modify the dog's emotional response to separation and teach alternative behaviors. Avoiding punishment for anxiety-driven behaviors is essential, as it could exacerbate the problem. Through gradual training, dogs can learn to be more comfortable being alone, improving their emotional well-being. What factors should be considered when choosing between a leash and harness for dog training, and how do these tools impact training outcomes? Answer: when choosing between a leash and harness, trainers should consider the dog's size, behavioral issues, and training goals. A harness is often preferred for dogs with neck sensitivity or for breeds prone to respiratory issues, as it distributes pressure more evenly across the chest and back. A harness is also ideal for pulling dogs, as it provides better control without straining the neck. A leash is essential for basic control and directional guidance during training. However, using a leash with a collar may cause discomfort or injury in dogs prone to pulling. For training purposes, the front clip harness can be more effective than a back clip harness in discouraging pulling behavior. Proper use of both tools promotes safe and effective training, supporting the principles of positive reinforcement and controlled behavior shaping. The right choice of equipment facilitates the trainer's ability to guide the dog's movements, ensuring consistent training outcomes and positive experiences for both the trainer and the dog. Samantha, a companion animal service provider, is setting up an enclosure for a bearded dragon. She notices that the previous setup used a single UV light and a heat rock. Upon examining the dragon, Samantha sees signs of lethargy and swelling in the limbs. Answer: Samantha must first replace the single UV light with a full-spectrum UVB light, which is essential for the synthesis of vitamin D in reptiles. Vitamin D helps in calcium absorption, critical for bone health. The current setup with a heat rock is dangerous because it causes uneven heating and potential burns. Instead, she should install an overhead basking light that provides a heat gradient in the enclosure with a hot zone of 3540 and a cooler zone of 25 deg. The signs of lethargy and limb swelling indicate metabolic bone disease, MED, a common issue in reptiles caused by insufficient UVB light and calcium deficiency. Samantha should also modify the dragon's diet, ensuring it includes calcium-rich foods like leafy greens and insects. She should seek veterinary care for a proper diagnosis and treatment for MBD. Legally, under the Animal Welfare Act, Samantha must ensure the animal's physical and mental needs are met, which includes proper nutrition, lighting, and housing conditions. If she fails to do so, she could face penalties for neglecting her duty of care. Why is maintaining water quality critical in aquariums housing both fish and amphibians? And how can neglect of water parameters lead to health issues? Discuss with examples of diseases caused by poor water quality. Answer: maintaining water quality is critical because fish and amphibians rely on stable aquatic environments for survival. Key water parameters like pH, ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, and temperature affect metabolic and immune functions. Ammonia and nitrite toxicity can cause poisoning, leading to gill damage, respiratory stress, and even death if not managed. For example, elevated ammonia levels above 0 ppm can cause ammonia poisoning, seen in symptoms like red, inflamed gills, and lethargy. If left unchecked, ammonia can overwhelm the system, leading to organ failure. Fish like goldfish are particularly susceptible to poor water quality. Nitrite poisoning caused by improper filtration or overstocking leads to a brown blood disease where oxygen carrying capacity is reduced. On the other hand, incorrect temperature fluctuations can stress amphibians and fish, causing behavioral changes, suppressing immune function, or even resulting in fungal or bacterial infections like white spot disease. The Companion Animal Code of Practice emphasizes the need for proper water filtration and regular monitoring to ensure animal health and welfare. Neglecting water quality could lead to infections, stress, and even legal consequences for failing to meet animal care standards. Describe the process and importance of record keeping for microchipped animals. Include a discussion on compliance requirements. Answer: record keeping for microchipped animals is vital for ensuring traceability and accountability in companion animal services. The process involves collecting and securely storing critical information such as the animal's microchip number, description, breed, color, markings, and the owner's contact details. This data must be entered into a register microchip database, and records should be kept updated, especially if the owner's contact details change. Under the pet microchipping regulations, pet owners are required by law to ensure their pets are microchipped and the information is registered with an authorized database. Failure to keep records updated could result in difficulties when reuniting lost pets with their owners. Regular audits of these databases ensure compliance with animal welfare standards and help mitigate cases of fraud or lost animals. In many regions, this information must be available to authorities and pet recovery organizations. Non-compliance with these regulations can result in penalties, including fines or the revocation of business licenses. Accurate record keeping ensures that in the event of an animal's loss, the microchip data can quickly trace the pet back to its owner, promoting animal safety and fulfilling legal obligations. Explain the key differences between feeding live prey and prepared diets to exotic pets. Highlight the welfare considerations and regulatory implications involved. Answer: feeding live prey versus prepared diets to exotic pets involves several key differences. Live prey, such as insects or rodents, can encourage natural hunting behaviors in carnivorous or insectivorous species like reptiles. However, it poses risks such as injury to the pet from defensive prey and stress to the prey itself, as live animals may experience pain and fear before being eaten. Additionally, live prey may carry diseases or parasites that can be transmitted to the pet. On the other hand, prepared diets provide balanced nutrition and are safer for both the pet and the prey. Pre-packaged diets, such as frozen food or specially formulated pellets, ensure that pets receive the necessary nutrients without the stress of live feeding. Prepared diets also reduce the risk of injury and disease transmission. Welfare considerations in feeding live prey include ensuring that prey is humanely handled and dispatched as required under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. In some regions, feeding live prey to pets without proper care can be considered cruelty. Regulatory implications involve restrictions on the import and sale of live prey and specific requirements for handling exotic pets. Laws may mandate that all food given to exotic pets meets the nutritional standards for the species, and keeping live prey may require special permits or licenses. Liam runs a reptile care business and is approached by a client asking him to house and care for a Burmese python. Upon investigation, Liam finds the species is restricted under local laws unless specific permits are obtained. Answer: Liam should take several actions to comply with legal requirements. First, he needs to confirm the legal status of Burmese pythons by consulting the Exotic Species Permitting Act. This will outline whether the species is prohibited or requires a special permit. If permits are necessary, Liam should assist the client in obtaining them by submitting the required paperwork to the relevant wildlife authority. He should also explain the potential risks associated with housing such an animal, including ecological concerns and public safety, especially if the python is non-native. Failing to comply with these regulations can result in severe legal consequences. Liam could face hefty fines, seizure of the animal, and potential criminal charges for violating wildlife laws. Additionally, failing to secure the appropriate permits could lead to the suspension of his business license as outlined under the Wildlife Protection and Management Act. To avoid these penalties, Liam must adhere strictly to the legal framework surrounding exotic species and ensure all necessary paperwork is in place before accepting the animal for care. Discuss the implications of incorrect lighting in reptile enclosures on animal health. Provide examples of disorders caused by improper lighting setups. Answer: incorrect lighting in reptile enclosures can significantly affect the animal's health, as lighting plays a critical role in regulating metabolism, circadian rhythms, and overall well-being. Reptiles require UVB light for vitamin D synthesis, which is essential for calcium absorption and bone health. Without adequate UVB exposure, reptiles are prone to metabolic bone disease (MBD), which leads to bone deformities, muscle weakness, and even paralysis. An example is the bearded dragon, which requires UVB exposure to prevent MBD. Furthermore, incorrect temperature lighting setups can cause thermal stress or overheating. If reptiles are exposed to excessive heat without a cooler area, it can lead to dehydration, heat stroke, and organ failure. Similarly, inadequate lighting can suppress natural behaviors, making the animal more lethargic. The animal welfare guidelines for reptile care specify the need for appropriate lighting and temperature gradients in enclosures to ensure reptiles' health and well-being. Under these guidelines, failure to provide proper lighting and temperature control may be considered neglect or cruelty, subjecting the owner to legal actions such as fines or animal confiscation. Explain the importance of compliance audits in companion animal services and the consequences of failing an audit. Answer: compliance audits in companion animal services are essential for ensuring adherence to animal welfare regulations and ensuring the safety and well-being of animals under care. These audits assess whether business practices, including animal housing, nutrition, and health management, align with the standards set by local animal welfare laws. Regular audits help identify areas for improvement, ensure staff are trained in proper animal care, and minimize the risk of non-compliance with regulations such as the Animal Welfare Act. Failure to pass an audit can have serious consequences. If a business is found in violation of the regulations, it may face penalties such as fines, temporary suspension of operations, or even permanent closure. In some cases, authorities may confiscate animals and revoke licenses to operate. Additionally, businesses that fail audits risk reputational damage, as non-compliance can lead to public distrust and negative media attention. To avoid these consequences, businesses must keep comprehensive records, ensure staff training, and conduct regular internal reviews to ensure compliance with all applicable laws. Compliance audits are critical to maintaining high standards of care and operating within the bounds of legal requirements. What are the risks associated with importing exotic species, and how do regulations mitigate these risks? Answer: importing exotic species carries several risks, primarily the potential introduction of diseases and parasites that could affect both the imported animals and native wildlife. Diseases such as trichodermatosis in amphibians or salmonella in reptiles can spread to other animals or even humans. Furthermore, some exotic species become invasive, disrupting local ecosystems by outcompeting native species for resources. An example is the Burmese python in Florida, which has caused significant ecological damage to local wildlife. Regulations mitigate these risks by enforcing strict importation laws that require permits, health certifications, and quarantine measures for exotic species. The Endangered Species Act and the Invasive Species Act regulate the import of certain species to prevent ecological damage. Quarantine ensures that any diseases or parasites the animals carry are identified and treated before they are released into the environment. Regulatory bodies like wildlife protection agencies carefully monitor these imports to ensure compliance and safeguard biodiversity and public health. How do zoos contribute to conservation efforts, and what role do they play in educating the public about endangered species? Answer: zoos play a crucial role in conservation by providing safe environments for endangered species and engaging in breeding programs aimed at maintaining genetic diversity. Many species, such as the black-footed ferret or the Arabian oryx, have been saved from extinction through these programs. Zoos also participate in habitat restoration projects and contribute to research that informs conservation efforts globally. In addition to conservation, zoos play an important educational role. They raise public awareness about endangered species and the importance of preserving biodiversity. Educational programs and exhibits teach visitors about the challenges species face in the wild, such as habitat loss, poaching, and climate change. Many zoos collaborate with international organizations to fund and support conservation initiatives. By highlighting the importance of wildlife protection, zoos inspire people to take action and contribute to conservation efforts. The involvement of zoos in both active conservation and education helps to ensure the survival of endangered species while fostering a broader commitment to environmental protection. What are the key ethical considerations when breeding exotic pets, and how can breeders ensure the well-being of both the animals and the potential owners? Answer: ethical considerations when breeding exotic pets include ensuring the health and well-being of both the parent animals and the offspring. Breeders must avoid overbreeding, as this can lead to genetic issues and poor health in the animals. They should also ensure that breeding practices do not harm the animals or result in unnecessary suffering. Ethical breeders carefully select breeding pairs based on genetic diversity, health status, and temperament, ensuring that the animals are suited to life in captivity. Breeders can ensure the well-being of animals and potential owners by providing accurate information about the species' care requirements, including diet, habitat, and social needs. They should also educate prospective owners about the long-term commitment involved in keeping exotic pets, including the cost and responsibility of proper care. Furthermore, breeders should follow relevant legal frameworks, such as the animal breeding regulations, to avoid the sale of animals that may be unsuitable for specific homes or illegal to own. Ethical breeding practices contribute to the welfare of animals and help prevent the exploitation of exotic species. What are the key considerations when designing and maintaining hygienic housing for animals in a boarding facility? Discuss how improper housing can lead to health and behavioral issues. Answer: when designing hygienic housing for animals, several factors must be considered to ensure a safe and healthy environment. First, proper ventilation is essential to avoid stagnant air, which can harbor bacteria and cause respiratory issues. Well-ventilated spaces reduce the spread of diseases like kennel cough. Drains must be strategically placed to prevent water accumulation, which can lead to bacterial growth. Surface materials such as non-porous, easy-to-clean flooring e.g. epoxy or tiles should be used to minimize infection risks. Separate areas for sick or aggressive animals are necessary to prevent cross-contamination and stress. If these factors are neglected, health issues such as respiratory infections or parasites may arise. Behavioral problems like aggression, stress, or anxiety can occur if animals are overcrowded or housed in unsuitable environments. The RSPCA and Australian Animal Welfare Standards highlight the importance of creating environments that cater to the specific needs of different animals, promoting both physical and mental well-being. Why is it critical to monitor food intake in animals in a boarding facility, and what steps should be taken if an animal refuses to eat? Answer: monitoring food intake in a boarding facility is vital for maintaining animal health. It helps detect early signs of illness, stress, or behavioral issues that may affect the animal's appetite. Regular observation can reveal if the animal is eating enough to maintain its weight or if it requires dietary adjustments. If an animal refuses to eat, the first step is to check the type and quality of food provided, ensuring it aligns with the animal's preferences or any special dietary needs. Offer familiar food items from the owner, as stress or environmental changes may impact eating habits. Monitoring for signs of illness such as vomiting, diarrhea, or lethargy is essential. If the refusal persists for more than 24 hours, consulting a veterinarian is necessary to rule out any health conditions. The RSPCA and other animal welfare organizations recommend keeping accurate feeding records to track changes in eating patterns, which can be helpful in diagnosing health issues. Providing a calm, familiar environment and maintaining consistency in feeding schedules also helps encourage regular eating. Emily is managing a busy cattery and notices that several cats are showing signs of stress, such as excessive grooming and hiding. The cats are from different households but share a common play area. What steps should Emily take to address this issue? Answer: Emily should first separate the cats into different areas to reduce territorial stress. Cats are territorial creatures, and mixing animals from different households can lead to anxiety and aggressive behaviors. Next, she should introduce enrichment activities such as climbing structures, scratching posts, and interactive toys to keep the cats engaged and reduce stress. Providing private spaces for each cat within their enclosures will give them a secure place to retreat to when feeling overwhelmed. Introducing calming elements, such as pheromone diffusers, e.g. Feliway, can help reduce anxiety. Observing body language is key to understanding stress, as excessive grooming or hiding can indicate distress. Emily should ensure that all cats are provided with enough space, food, and water to avoid competition, which can lead to more stress. Finally, regular monitoring of behavior and health during their stay will help detect any issues early. The Companion Animal Network guidelines emphasize the importance of providing individualized care to reduce stress in boarding environments, including providing both mental and physical stimulation to improve the welfare of cats in catteries. How can a pet care service effectively use social media to attract clients while adhering to ethical marketing practices? Answer: social media is a powerful tool for pet care services to reach potential clients. To use it effectively, businesses should post engaging content that educates and entertains, such as pet care tips, behind the scenes looks at daily operations, and client testimonials. Video content showing happy animals, staff interactions, and the facilities can build trust and attract attention. Targeted social media ads can help businesses reach local communities or specific demographics looking for pet care services. However, marketing must always adhere to ethical practices. This means being transparent about services, showcasing real client reviews, and avoiding exaggerated claims about results. Misleading marketing, such as using edited photos or making false promises, could result in legal consequences and loss of trust. Pet care businesses should also respond promptly and professionally to comments, questions, and concerns to maintain positive relationships. The Australian consumer law requires businesses to ensure advertising is truthful and not misleading, which also applies to social media content. Ethical marketing builds long-term trust, while false claims can lead to legal penalties and damage to reputation. What protocols should be followed to monitor animal interactions and prevent fights in a boarding facility? Answer: preventing fights requires proactive management and proper protocols. First, animals should be grouped by temperament and size to avoid conflicts. Dogs that are overly territorial should be kept separate from those that are more sociable. Regular monitoring of animal interactions is essential. Staff should be trained to recognize early signs of stress or aggression, such as growling, snapping, or postural changes. During initial introductions, animals should be placed in neutral territories where neither animal feels territorial. Gradual introductions and the use of barriers like gates or fences can help assess reactions before full interaction. When aggression is detected, staff must intervene promptly, separating the animals and giving them time to calm down. If a fight breaks out, immediate action should be taken to prevent injury, and the animals should be re-evaluated for future interactions. It's crucial to follow animal welfare guidelines, which emphasize supervision and preventing harm during animal interactions. Keeping detailed records of animal behaviors can also help improve future interactions. Discuss how dynamic pricing can be implemented for pet care services while ensuring fairness and customer satisfaction. Answer: dynamic pricing allows pet care services to adjust their rates based on demand fluctuations. For example, during peak seasons such as holidays or school vacations, prices can be increased due to higher demand for boarding services. Conversely, off-peak periods can offer discounts or promotions to attract clients and ensure occupancy. However, it is important to maintain transparency by clearly communicating pricing changes to customers. To ensure fairness, loyalty programs or discounts for early bookings can be implemented to incentivize repeat business. Additionally, pet care services should offer a range of pricing options based on the type of service, e.g., basic boarding versus premium services with extra care. A tiered pricing structure based on the size or breed of animals is another option. While dynamic pricing allows businesses to maximize revenue, it should always be aligned with ethical business practices as outlined by Australian consumer law, which requires clear, honest communication with customers regarding prices and terms. What are best practices for communicating with clients regarding their pet's health and behavior during their stay? Answer: regular communication with clients is essential to ensure transparency and foster trust. Pet care businesses should provide clients with frequent updates about their pet's well-being, especially if any health or behavioral changes occur. Updates can be sent via texts, emails, or photos, allowing clients to feel connected to their pets. In case of any health issues, clients should be notified immediately, along with details of the steps being taken, such as visiting a veterinarian at the end of the pet's stay. A detailed report should be provided covering aspects such as food intake, behavior, and any incidents during the stay. Maintaining open lines of communication ensures clients feel assured about their pet's care and well-being. Privacy and confidentiality should also be respected when discussing client pets' details. The Privacy Act 1988 and industry best practices require businesses to handle personal and pet-related information securely and professionally. What are the steps to take in case of an emergency such as an animal injury or medical incident at a boarding facility? Answer: in the event of an emergency, the first step is to ensure the safety of both the injured animal and the other animals in the facility. Staff should be trained in basic first aid for animals, including techniques for controlling bleeding, performing CPR, and handling common injuries. Immediate steps include notifying the facility manager and vet clinic, followed by securing transport to the vet if needed. The pet's medical records should be reviewed to ensure the veterinarian is aware of any pre-existing conditions. After the incident, it is important to notify the owner as soon as possible, providing all necessary details about the injury and treatment. Additionally, incident reports should be completed to document the event and to improve safety protocols. Following proper procedures helps minimize risks and ensures that animals receive the best care in emergencies. How does animal welfare legislation impact the operations of a pet boarding facility? Answer: animal welfare legislation plays a crucial role in regulating the operations of pet boarding facilities. In Australia, the Animal Welfare Act and Australian animal welfare standards require facilities to meet specific guidelines to ensure the physical and psychological well-being of animals in their care. Boarding facilities must also ensure that animals are housed in a manner that minimizes stress and injury, which involves providing appropriate space, avoiding overcrowding, and preventing inter-animal conflicts. Facilities must be equipped to handle emergency situations, ensuring animals receive immediate attention in case of injury or illness. Animal welfare legislation also requires that any procedures involving animals, such as grooming or medical treatments, be conducted by qualified personnel to prevent harm. These regulations help protect animals from neglect, abuse, or mistreatment, thereby ensuring that businesses operate in compliance with ethical standards. Non-compliance with these standards can result in legal action, loss of license, and damage to reputation. Hence, it is imperative that pet boarding facilities stay informed about relevant legislation and adhere to these regulations to ensure the safety and welfare of animals and maintain their business's legitimacy. What strategies should a pet boarding facility implement to manage animal behavior effectively and reduce stress? Answer: managing animal behavior in a boarding facility is essential for both animal welfare and customer satisfaction. To reduce stress and manage behavior, the facility should implement several strategies. Separation of animals by breed, size, and temperament is important to prevent conflicts, as some animals may be more territorial or prone to stress when in proximity to certain others. For dogs, regular walks and supervised playtime are crucial for their mental and physical stimulation. For cats, offering hidden resting places and vertical spaces helps them feel secure. Staff should be trained to observe body language to detect early signs of stress or aggression, such as growling, tail twitching, or cowering. In case of aggressive or overly anxious behavior, the facility should have protocols in place for immediate intervention, such as separating the animals and allowing them to calm down. Additionally, the use of calming products like pheromone diffusers can help reduce anxiety. Having a consistent routine in terms of feeding, exercise, and rest time can also help reduce stress, as animals thrive on predictability. Proper training and behavior monitoring are vital to ensure that any behavioral problems are addressed promptly and effectively.